the handling of limited routine matters by city council. The mayor would ask if a citizen or council member wishes to have any specific item removed from the consent agenda for discussion. Either the public or council member may request that an item be removed from the consent agenda at that time prior to council's vote. First item is the approval of the work session and regular meeting minutes for October 13, 2020. Second is approval of expenditures vouchers of October 27, 2020. Third one is approval of a renewal brew pub liquor license for Four Corners Brewing LLC DBA Main Street Brewery and Restaurant located at 21 East Main Street in Cortez. And approval of a renewal tavern liquor license for Cortez Veterans Incorporated, DBA Cortez Veterans Incorporated, located at 320 North Harrison Street, Cortez. Okay. Do I hear?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we accept the consent agenda as written.
Okay.
Second.
Was the second by Arlena?
Yes.
Thank
Yes.
you. Huckins,
Aye.
Lucero,
Aye.
Rainey, David,
Rainey? Unmute yourself, David. We can't hear you, David. Something's wrong with your audio.
Try. Is it plugged into your computer? Try unplugging it and plugging it back in.
Can you hear me now?
Okay.
There you go.
here we
now
go.
can.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry. Aye.
David,
Aye.
Rainey, Medina,
Aye.
Yazzie,
Aye.
Levy.
Hi. Thank you. Okay. Everyone's audio on now? Okay, thank you. Next item is we're swearing in the new council member, Robert Dobry.
Robert, if you would please raise your right hand, and your oath of office is in the packet. If you could read that, that would be appreciated.
I, Robert Dobry, do solemnly swear by the ever-living God that I will support the Constitution of the United States and of the state of Colorado and the city charter and ordinances of the city of Cortez, and faithfully perform the duties of city council member.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Linda. Welcome, Robert. Okay. Next item on the agenda is the Green Light Vet program. I have a proclamation that I'm going to read. It's called Green Light Vet, and it's in honor of the Veterans Day coming up in November 11th. This program honors veterans specifically by lighting a light bulb in your home or your business. You take one of your regular white light bulbs and replace it with a green bulb, which is available at the local hardware stores and other locations. And it kind of commemorates the facts that we honor our veterans and we want to keep them in remembrance. As a note, I participated in that last year, excuse me, at this time, and I still have that green light lit in my house after a year, and I turn that on every night. We're recommended to leave it on for the month of November, but you can leave it on all year round, which I do. It's very rewarding to drive around town or different locations and see that green light at night at homes, and it's a good reminder that people are remembering our veterans. The proclamation reads, proclamation in recognition of Green Light Event. Whereas green is the color of hope, renewal, and well-being, and whereas green light is also a term commonly used to activate forward movement, and whereas the simple action of changing one light to green is intended to spark a national conversation regarding the recognition of veterans and green light them forward as valued members of our community. Whereas Americans, veterans are some of the nation's bravest, hardest working men and women. And whereas it is hard to show our veterans the appreciation they deserve when back home and out of uniform, they're more camouflaged than ever. Let us honor our veterans not only on November 11th, but all year round by changing one light to green in a visible location on your porch, your home, or your office, and keep it glowing every day as a symbol of appreciation and support for our veterans. Now, therefore, I, Michael J. Levy, Mayor of the City of Cortez, do hereby ask that citizens green light event witnessed by my hand this 27th day of October 2020. And this is the proclamation. So thank you, veterans, and we'll keep you in our hearts. Thank you. Okay. There are no public hearings. There are no unfinished business. Under new business, Montezuma Historic Museum request, citizen or city manager John Doherty.
As the council heard 2 weeks ago at council meeting, the Montezuma
Your audio is a little choppy, John. Just do
oh my
your
gosh.
best.
They requested $5,000 last 2 weeks ago, and they are here tonight. I see them present to answer any questions. There is $5,000 in the council's budget this year if council wants to go something for Montezuma Historical Society.
Okay. Ann, would you like to speak?
Yes. Well, as you know, I hope you have read my letters explaining that we appreciate the help you've given us in the past, but we want to drive home to you the fact that this museum will be in downtown Cortez and will be an economic factor for all of Cortez. And I know Joe was going to talk a little bit about that, but another thing I want to mention to you is that the $5,000 that we're requesting will be matched dollar for dollar by Colorado Housing Finance Authority. They have given us a challenge grant, and so any money that you would give us would become $10,000, and that will just about do that room, the audiovisual room, and then your name would be on the door right by the audiovisual room on a plaque as sponsored by the City of Cortez. And it shows a lot of support. Everyone will see it, and we would appreciate that kind of support from you. Whoops. Mine disappeared. Oh, there I am. So Joe, if you want to take it from here, that'd be great.
Thank you, Ann. Mr. Mayor and council members and staff, thank you for the opportunity for us to tell you more about the project and the Montezuma Heritage Museum. From my perspective, I think it's a great enhancement for downtown. It really can support our tourism-based economy. And with things like the Sunflower Theater and the the Cortez Cultural Center, and now with a museum in downtown, I think it really can, over time, really add to the drawing power of downtown, which I think all of us realize downtown needs quite a bit of help. They've gone through so many different loss of businesses over the years, over the decades. And I, for one, was very appreciative of the islands that you folks put in. I know you took a lot of flack for that, but I just think when I was mayor, actually on council, we had our city manager hit trying to get across Main Street. And so I think that was a great thing that you did. And but from an economic development perspective, I think it really can enhance our drawing power, and the uniqueness of the museum really concentrating on our local history and our pioneer history and Native American history, I think makes it kind of a unique selling position for it, whereas many of the museums in the county concentrate on more of the Anasazi or the ancestral Puebloan people. But yeah, I just hope you can support it and think it will be a really great thing for downtown, the community, and the whole county. And if we can answer any questions for you, please let us know.
One other thing, thank you, Joe. One other thing I would like to add is that we did a feasibility study. It's been almost a year ago now, and of the people that we talked to, only one suggested that the money should go to something beside a museum. And every one of those people that we talked to have contributed at least once. Some people have been able to help us out 2 or 3 times. We have one lady that sends me $2 a month because she grew up here. She was born and raised here, and that is all she can afford. But that is one of the biggest contributions I feel that we get, the most heartfelt. We have way over 200 people in the community who have contributed. And of course, we've gone out and gotten a lot of grants, but it seems like there's just not enough money to do the audiovisual theater the way it needs to be. And that is why we're asking for your help. We do appreciate your willingness to listen to us, and we appreciate your time. Joe talks about being on council. Well, I too was on city council, but in a different city, and was mayor in a different city. And so I understand the pressure that comes to a council, but I do know that if I was mayor, by golly, I would push this today, just like I am right now. I really feel it is a worthwhile project for the city.
Thank you, Ann and Joe, for your service. And thank you, Joe, for your endorsement of the medians.
Oh, thank you.
We don't get too many of those.
I know you don't.
Yeah. How is the museum coming?
I intended to send you some pictures. They have started stuccoing the front of the building right now. All of the 2x4s, what do they call it? The framing is in. The Orangeburg that we had to bypass in one of the sewer lines has been bypassed, and the broken sewer pipe has been replaced. So right now they are putting up drywall, and the electrician is in there finishing up his work. They are hoping that the weather will warm back up so they can do the rest of the stucco outside. They did get the facade done, and now they're doing the stucco on it. we've had another unforeseen incident where one of the, excuse me, one of the doors that we were going to recycle into the door for the assembly room broke as we were taking it out of its place to move it. So that door has to be replaced. It just seems like when you remodel, if anybody's done that, they realize one thing after another happens you didn't realize. So, but Silver Creek Builders, Don Orton, is working very hard to try to have this finished by Christmas. So we'll see. We might have a great Christmas present for the city of Cortez.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Yeah.
Thank you. Me too. I appreciate your support.
Ben Burkett, see, we have $5,000 in our council budget.
I believe the city manager answered that and was, I believe there was a yes.
Right, yeah. And Ann or Joe, are you planning to put in for the community grant awards later on?
Yes, we did. We did already submit a request. I believe it was for 1,500.
Okay. Okay, we can address that when it comes up. Are there any questions or comments from the council?
I have one, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Amy, go ahead.
Thank you both for joining us for our council meeting. I think this is a great opportunity for our downtown area, throw a little something more in for tourist attractions and for our local residents to get more pride going on in the area that we live in. Do you have any negotiations or any plan to partnership with Mesa Verde Country or the Chamber to get the word out?
Yes, we do have, we already are working with Mesa Verde Company and Center and the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe is another one of our partners. We have, Mesa Verde Park itself. They are working with us. All of the people that we are contacting and working with partners are helping us to do the design of the exhibits. So they're going to be special. If we have, of course, if we have too many people, they may not be, but yes, we do. We are working with each of those.
Great, thank you. And will there be an admission to get into the museum?
Well, we haven't gotten to that point yet of discussion, but one of the proposals that are in the board meetings is to allow members to, of course, enter without cost. As we go down the line, we will, have to see how the upkeep is and the operation costs work. But memberships will probably enter free. And of course, we'll be selling memberships all along. And they're only $30 for a family. That may have to go up as we get closer to see how things are working out. But at least for the first year, we probably will not have admittance fees for locals especially. We want everyone to see this story. And of course, we are working with a couple of teachers to put together a youth program for the schools to bring their busload of children on their exhibit or on their days for their trips. Once we can get past COVID, maybe we can do that.
And this is Councilwoman Yazzie. What kind of perks do members get?
Right now, perks get to help. Members get to help. That's their perk. The main perk will be, of course, admittance to the museum, and the pride of being a member is another perk. We have discussed that about what kind of perks, but it'll mostly be once we get the museum done. You know, we haven't had a museum since 1960 in Cortez. It was in the basement of the old city hall. So that's a good question. I'll bring that up to the board. I'll tell them you want to know.
I have a question, and sorry if you've already answered it, but how is it going to be staffed? Is it going to be volunteers or paid positions or a combination?
Well, we'll have mostly volunteers. We'll probably have to have a museum director, at least on part-time. And we would advertise for that person. We have a couple of people who have already expressed interest in being the museum director. Right now, we have a volunteer curator who is keeping track of all of the artifacts and collection that we have been given over the years for people or from people. And all of us are volunteers. The board's all volunteer. We do not have paid staff right now. Well, excuse me, we did pay a grant writer for some grants. In the future, of course, we'll have to have one.
And do you feel like looking forward after this is all completed, that sustainability for you guys will look like mostly grants and then supplemented with the membership fees? I'm mostly just curious.
I would say that, well, we do have the possibility of an endowment that the man just passed away last week, and he had written me in July and told me that he is setting aside funds for an endowment for operational expenses. And it is a significant amount, so that we will be doing that investigation, and we will be building the endowment for anyone else that would like to add. That will help in sustaining. Ship fees will help. And then initially, of course, like I said, admittance will not be charged. We will not charge for, but down the road, probably $3 to $5 we'd have to have, because I don't want to do all this work, and neither do you or anybody else, and have it close. So yes, we'll probably have to charge eventually.
But there will be opportunity to have events there as well with some of the rooms.
Absolutely. One of the parts of the building is, if anybody grew up here, they know of the old tire shop that Montgomery Ward's had on the building. It's a little separate section off of the main building. That is an assembly room. And one of our benefactors, Robert Longabaugh, can you still hear me? There, mine keeps going off. One of our benefactors donated enough funding to totally redo that room for a meeting room for us. And his amount was significant, really nice. And so, and then another benefactor is Muscanel, who donated the wood flooring in that room. So it will be a very nice room for people to use for meetings.
Any other questions? Council? I'd recommend to everyone listening to get a membership. It's a good way to support the museum and the community, and it's a good way to get admittance to the museum once it opens. I've been a member for many years.
Yes, you have.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from council? Could I hear a motion on this item?
Mayor Levy, I can consider approving the Montezuma Historic Museum request for $5,000 to be used towards the audiovisual room.
Second.
Medina,
Aye.
Yazzie,
Aye.
Rainey,
Aye.
Dobry,
Aye.
Huckins,
Aye.
Lucero,
Aye.
Levy.
Aye.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Ann and
Thank
Joe.
you. Thank you very much.
I am humbled, and I thank you. The museum will thank you.
Thank you for all you do, Ann and Joe. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Once we
Thank
get
you.
this, I can retire it. Now, do
Okay.
I turn off my?
Yeah, you could just turn off your mic now.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
Okay. Next item is ordinance number 1279, series 2020, Director of Finance, Ben Burkett.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Good evening, council members, and also a warm invite to Council Member Dobry. Welcome. So this evening, what we have is I have a memo that starts off the three ordinances, which are B, C, and D. Okay. In the past, we've always had the ordinances set as one ordinance, but this year it's a little different because I've aligned it to the state of Colorado ordinances on how the state would like to see budgets adopted, appropriated, and the mill levy set. So if you're curious why that changed, that is why, just to alignment with the state of Colorado. And each item is an ordinance, these three ordinances, each of them are separate, and I'll ask for you to move and approve them if you do. Okay, just kind of overall arching of how the next conversation is going to go. So the first ordinance, as the mayor said, is ordinance number 1279. That ordinance is the ordinance by which to adopt the budget. As you all are aware, the city and my peers, the department heads, started our budget rather early this year to get a good head start. So we had could have a lot of conversation with you all and as well as with the community, and to get feedback to have a more rounded and directed budget. So the back in August, I believe, we had 2 meetings with you all, council members, and then in September we had a public hearing to receive, not say a public hearing, but a time for public to provide input regarding the budget. Shared the responses to those meetings with you all. From what I remember is the budget that has been discussed, there have not really been any significant changes to what you see in front of you on that ordinance for adopting the budget. And I'm just getting that up in front of me. I apologize here. Okay. We're on right now. So what we have is the ordinance to adopt is everything that we've discussed in those sessions. We have the general fund And then we have as our general operating fund for the general government operations. And then we have our special revenue funds with the airport, the CCN, dispatch, hydro, so on. And then we have our internal service funds. And we've split out and showed the dollar amounts that were for budgeting, for adoption. That is detailed, I believe, in Ordinance 1280 with the appropriation of monies once it's adopted, okay? Then moving on to the mill levy, the tax mill levy. The mill levy for the city is effectively now 1.21 mills, okay, for every 0.21 mills upon the total assessment. We do have some, you'll notice there's that section 1.21, and then we have a couple other section 2, 3, and 4 that are temporary increases and decreases to that mill levy as in accordance with and allowed by the state of Colorado. Which then puts us down to a lower receipts of mills.
Hey Ben, can I interrupt? Would it be possible for you to call in so we can have better audio?
You're starting to break up, Ben.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear anything you said. Let me ask, can you hear me okay?
No. Can you call in on your phone?
Good luck, it didn't work for me either.
Just a moment here. Oops, that's the wrong one. And we'll turn that.
Yeah, losing your video will help with the bandwidth.
Ben, it looks like you're talking,
No.
but
No audio, Ben.
Let's try this. How about now?
Ah, yes, good.
Okay. All right. Well, I can start all over again if you prefer. I don't know what you've got.
you're on the mill levy.
I
Nothing.
think the first part of it was okay, Ben. It's just toward the end.
Sure. Okay. All right. So we have, so you caught, maybe you caught, maybe you did not. This year, the ordinances are split into 3, and that is because we are aligning to the state of Colorado structure of ordinances, okay? Rather than having them all together in one. The first ordinance is to adopt the budget, right? To say, yes, we're going to adopt it in general and the concept of it. The second ordinance then is to appropriate. The appropriations is then the more detailed appropriation or the expenditures that you see in the, I believe it's 1281, the 1280 details that you see in 1280 ordinance. And what you'll see in there is you should have the general fund, and then we shall have the special revenue funds and the internal service funds. Then on the ordinance 1281, that is the mill levy that we're setting, okay? And the mill levy is, we have a mill levy of 1.21 now. Then what we do is we have reductions or increases that are temporary just for the year to come to arrive at an effective, let's just say effective mill levy for the year, okay? So we start at like a mill levy of $108,000 to be collected for property taxes. And then there's credits that we're providing back to the citizens of $15,758. And then we have a temporarily increase to $1,700, which gives us a net dollars of $89,000 to be collected from the mill levy for the year. I'll pause for a moment. Are there any questions?
I have one.
I have John here with me as well.
Is that higher or lower than this year's?
The mill levy?
Yeah.
It's the same mill levy, but because of the temporary reductions, it's a decrease in the collections.
That was just based on conversations we've had on email questioning why are we raising taxes when we're in this problem. I just want to clear that we're not raising taxes.
Right, and there are our code says that our mill levy is set at X amount. We cannot raise the mill levy without going back to the voters. So our mill levy now is set at 1.21. So what you do, we set that mill levy the same every year going forward. And what you can do is temporarily reduce it. So for example, if we collect too much taxes, which we should not do, we then give it back, okay? And then we also have that what you'll see is there's that $1,700 increase. That's not necessarily an increase in taxes. What that is there were monies that were actually not property tax monies that were not collected that the city had every right to collect. So all we're doing is we're collecting those taxes. So and they're all temporary just for the year. So the most is we could always only increase by 1.21. Excuse me, I said increase. What I meant was we stay flat with 1.21 mill levy. Any questions there?
Thank you. Thank you for clarifying that, Ben, because there had been some concerns that taxes were going up, but that puts people's minds at ease when you clarify that. Thank you.
You're welcome. And to maybe give you highlight it, I believe what was budgeted for this year, 2020, was a collection of I think it was $112,000. If I remember correct, it was 112 or 117. It's about in there, just give you an idea. And what we're saying here is we're looking at collecting, if I remember right, a net 89,000. Where'd it go? I just gotta get on the right page here to make sure I'm looking at the right number. Yeah, a net of 89,863. So we're actually, what we've said is we're being honest. We've said, hey, we've over collected 15,000. We're giving it back to all property owners. We're being very transparent with that.
Is this the property tax money that is being withheld from us because of the audits?
It is in escrow, so to speak, that the county is holding.
Okay, so we're not gonna like ever lose access to that money. It's just kind of in a holding place.
Right, and it's not at the direction of the county, it's the direction of the state.
Okay, and is that money incorporated in our budget then?
Yes. We do have it in based off of, right now we have the collection of this amount plus the prior year holdings. If I remember correctly, we added it in as a revenue source next year. And that's assuming we get all of our audits done, we get up to date, and the state says, yes, go ahead, release it, and then we can get those monies.
So say worst case scenario, we don't get the audits done in 2021. What is that going to be for our budget?
It's a delay in timing of the receipts. We would just receive them in the following year.
Okay, but we're not worried about expenditures then?
It's something to be aware of and to monitor and to manage. But if we think about it at a very high level, okay, is we're expecting X to come in, but Y came in because of a decrease of revenues, okay? But our expenditures were still high compared to, based off of the assumption we're gonna have higher revenues. You could say the fund balance will cover it that year, but you're gonna feel that fund balance with the following year revenues anyways. So it really comes down to more of a timing. If it's like a year, if it's just like a subsequent year, I think the concern is much lower. But if it was, let's say 2 years out or maybe 3 years out before we receive the funds, then you may say, oh, no, we maybe need to readjust, reassess.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So as we look at the budget, the overall, I can pull the budget document. I believe it should be attached, but the budget document is one of those things we're looking at approving, and that's where the details of the budgets are. But when we go to appropriate, it's we're appropriating monies, like legally appropriating, saying this is what can be spent by the funds, but then also by the departments within those funds. So when you look at the general fund, for example, I'm trying to pull it up here, and we have like the city council budget for 2021 at 388,000. That's what's in the city council's bucket, so to speak. But then when you look at, let's say, finance for myself, I have 567,000. That's what's in my bucket that I'm authorized to spend. Okay, I cannot spend more than that without coming to you all to approve an increase. Some departments actually are broken out in a little more detail. For example, the police department, they are broken out with a couple divisions in theirs. So by divisions, they have a little more more granular level of budget that they have to manage and be aware of as they go. Okay, so for example, there's the patrol division versus I think the detective division. They can spend based off of what you appropriate them for their budget for that division. So if the chief would like to take some monies out of, let's say, detectives and put it in the police, he cannot do that without coming to council. However, with that said, for clarification, within that division, so you'll have personnel costs, materials and supplies, contracts, etc. He can move or he can use the funds as necessary within that division, just for clarity. Any questions regarding the budget at this point?
I guess when are we gonna talk about the potential amendments? Because there's a few things that got brought up.
So right now, the amendments that from the amendments that you may not have, we've not spoken about, but I believe you are aware of, are relating to capital, and that was it. If you look down if you're in the budget, if you look down in the capital section, it's more or less the last page. Last page is. I'll give you more exact page numbers if you have it. For example, page 80 of the budget, there were increases in 2021 for the storage tank number 1 and storage tank number 3, which I believe you discussed briefly in the work session on the needs of water treatment and why that's there. So that was included and brought forward. And as Phil had mentioned, is those expenses, those capital projects are being covered by the fund themselves. Okay, it's not coming out of the general fund, it's coming from the water fund. If I remember correctly, the one other item that was added in related to Parks, was it Parks and Rec? It was in the equipment fund for a mower. The Parks and Rec got with the city manager and discussed the mower was at end of its life. So it was added for a $70,000 capital project into the 2021 budget.
Then I believe the amendments Councilwoman Medina is referencing are the ones that were suggested by citizens.
Oh, okay. So just a quick refresher, so we're all on the same page. There were 2 suggestions that came up. One was for, I believe it was $140,000 to support the county to help with paving from the highway to the airport entrance. That is not in because we have not received, we put discussion out there if council would like to see that in, and I did not receive enough yeses, so to speak, to add that in. The other item was to remove the our subscription or membership to the Southwest COGS. And I forget the dollar amount off the top of my head. That too, I did not receive enough yeses to say remove it from the budget. So we do not, at this point, we did not add $140,000 for road construction for the airport. And we did not remove our membership dues payments to the Southwest COGS at this time. Were there other amendments that you're aware of that I'm not, that you'd like to discuss?
I'd like to discuss those two. I don't know if there was any others.
I guess I leave it to you all to discuss and provide guidance.
John, is it possible to ask Phil his opinion on the Road F project?
Well, it's outside the city, so Phil's not gonna have anything to say about it, but I would question why you're taking city money out of the city to the county when we have city roads that haven't been maintained in several years now. That 140,000 go a long ways to maintaining our roads rather than taking it to the county and taking care of their roads.
Something you also would need to think about, and when you're spending money outside the city on things that aren't the city's responsibility, or when you're giving money to subsidize things, what's the public purpose? How does it benefit the citizens of Cortez? What does it do? And, you know, paving a county road maybe doesn't benefit anybody in the city. Maybe it does, but we would have to come up with those reasons as well.
I guess I'd say it might indirectly benefit the city with like building relationships with the county, maybe the economic aspect of it. But it also sounds like we just aren't really at a place where we can just throw money at a project that's not necessarily directly benefiting our citizens.
What I looked there, John, you said it right on the money. Why we're using city money not to maintain our streets in the city and what we're doing out in the county. So I agree with that on that, but I don't think it should be in the budget. And it's not our job to maintain county roads.
Go.
I guess my other comment was I'd advocate that we keep paying our dues to the Southwest COG because I think they're really helping us get better internet to our community, which clearly is important as we have internet issues even during these meetings. So I guess I just want to say I'm in support of Southwest COG.
I'd like to add a support for Southwest COG myself too. I can see there's a lot of benefits in that group, and we can kind of learn from other communities in this area how they're dealing with internet problems and broadband and other issues.
Yeah, I believe that John had mentioned that he reached out to them quite a bit this year with needing help around that project specifically. So
Yeah, I'd like to comment. In the past, I would have been sitting on the fence whether to not fund that or not. But as Councilmember Yazzie mentioned, I have used them a lot this year, and I mean a lot. And working with the ALLO things and different things, and I've called in Miriam several times because I know she's the expertise that has no skin in this game, so give me a straight answer. And I have been using her a lot, and I would strongly encourage you to continue to support the Southwest COG.
Well, my thoughts on the matter, I think, it didn't hurt them to ask for the money for the streets, and what's the worst thing we could do is say no. I think Phil's already mentioned to us time and time again, especially this year, a lot of his projects have been put on hold. So I think it would be respectful to, keep.
I'm inclined to agree with that.
think that I think the concept of like working together on the road.
Because we do have, huh?
Sorry, I think you cut out, Amy.
Ah, I was just saying, case in point. So I was just saying any and all resources we need.
And I'm thinking, like, when I think about the road, I would personally like us to collaborate more with the county. Maybe that's not the project that we collaborate on, but the concept around it, from what it sounds like, is that it's one of the first things that you come out onto when you leave the airport, right? It's the road from the airport. And it would be great to to help out with that project, but understanding our situation, maybe we should put perhaps a little bit more focus on actually supporting the airport and freshening itself up rather than the road. I don't know. I'm just putting it out there. It's just considering the last meeting that we had, perhaps we as a city can do more to support the airport, and make sure that that's an economic driver. So just my 2 cents.
I would agree with Councilwoman Yazzie on that. I think it would be great to work with the county on a project like that, but to do that, I think the way we would make more sense to do it is we would make a larger investment into the airport, and they would work on the county road that is their maintenance, and together that would benefit the economic impact for both the city and the county. And I think that would be an effective way for us to work together on a project like that.
So is there any more discussion or amendments that you would all like to discuss?
And do these include some, I guess I might have already asked you, some of the positions that are empty right now, or not filled, I should say?
The budget is based off of the being fully staffed. Is how it is. We will have open positions today that would be that are in the budget for next year. So if they go unstaffed, then you in essence have savings. All right, so from a quick summary for the amendment items, these in support of the building road G out, I believe, for the airport is we will not include that in our budget, and then we will still include our membership support for the Southwest COG. Is that correct? So no changes? Okay, appreciate it. So with that then, I believe if there isn't any other discussions or questions, we can move on to the looking for, the city staff. We recommend the approval of the motion and approval of the adoption of the budget, and then the appropriation of the budget, and then the setting of the mill levies. And I believe they all need to be done separately because they are separate ordinances.
Okay. Thank you, Ben. Are there any more comments or questions from the council? We'll vote on each one of these three items separately. Could I hear a motion, ordinance number 1279, series 2020?
Just a reminder, this is the first reading. There will be a second reading. That will be a public hearing, as a reminder.
Right.
Sorry to interrupt, sir.
Okay, it's okay.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the first reading of ordinance number 1279, series 2020, an ordinance summarizing expenditures and revenues for each fund and adopting a budget for the city of Cortez, Colorado for the calendar year beginning on the first day of January 2021 and ending on the last day of December 2021, and set for public hearing on November 10th, 2020.
I'll second that motion.
Yazzie,
Aye.
Dobry,
Aye.
Huckins,
Aye.
Lucero,
Aye.
Medina,
Aye.
Rainey,
Aye.
Levy.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item to be voted on will be ordinance number 1280, series 2020, which is also the first reading. Could I hear a motion on this item?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to consider approving on first reading ordinance number 1280, series 2020, an ordinance appropriating sums of money to the various funds and spending agencies in the amount and for the purpose as set forth below for the city of Cortez, Colorado, for the 2021 budget year and set for public hearing on November 10th, 2020.
Second.
Could I make it's kind of a formal thing, but you just made a motion to consider approving the budget, not to approve the budget.
Aye.
So could we change that to say I move to approve on first reading ordinance? I know that's the way it's stated in the agenda, but we'll change that in the future agendas so that those words are stricken.
Great. Mr. Mayor, I would like to make an amendment for the motion to approve on first reading ordinance number 1280, series 2020, an ordinance appropriating sums of money to the various funds and spending agency in the amount and for the purpose as set forth below for the city of Cortez, Colorado, for the 2021 budget year and set for public hearing on November 10th, 2020.
Second.
Lucero,
Aye.
Huckins,
Aye.
Medina,
Aye.
Dobry,
Aye.
Rainey,
Aye.
Yazzie,
Aye.
Levy.
Aye. Thank you. The final ordinance in this financial series is ordinance number 1281, series 2020. And this is a first reading also, and we're approving it, not just considering it. Could I hear a motion on this item, please?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve resolution. Oh, wait, sorry, I'm on the wrong one. The final piece, right? The final
Right,
budget one, right?
final one.
Sorry, guys.
1281.
I make a motion to approve on first reading ordinance number 1281, series 2020, and ordinance levying property taxes for the year 2021 to help defray the costs of government for the city of Cortez, Colorado, for the 2021 budget year and set for public hearing on November 20th, 2020.
Second.
Rainey,
Aye.
Lucero,
Aye.
Medina,
Aye.
Huckins,
Aye.
Yazzie,
Aye.
Dobry,
Aye.
Levy.
Aye. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is resolution number 22, series 2020. City Planner Tracy Hughes.
Good evening, council.
Good evening.
So this project is a minor subdivision. It was submitted by the applicant Becky Lynn. The property is located on South Oak Street. And basically they would like to just split the lot into two parcels, and both parcels will front South Oak Street and will meet standards for the R1 zoning district, and they'll actually exceed the standards, so the lots will be slightly wider and slightly bigger than they have to be. Lot 2B will front Jared and Oak, and this is existing condition of the original lot, so that's not going to change for the remainder of this property. And basically, there's a little bit of right-of-way dedication on South Oak Street happening because of this subdivision. The street kind of extended into the original property description, and with this minor subdivision, they'll just be moving the property line outside of the right-of-way, or the area where the right-of-way would be. And other than that, there's really no issues with this proposal, and staff recommends approval. And that's all I have.
See, there's already one house on the one lot, Tracy?
Yes, correct. They constructed a house on the bigger property, and then now they're just splitting off that lot 2A to be able to sell that off with the new home.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Tracy, what is the right of way width for Oak Street there?
What do you mean? What is what should it be, or?
60 foot or an 80 foot or 100 feet?
I don't know. Phil might be able to jump on here. So my understanding is that Oak Street goes through there, and currently all the lots kind of on that street extend into what we would think of as the right of way. So it was never really formally dedicated. This isn't the best copy of the plat, but the surveyors measured approximately, I think, 30 feet from the center line of the pavement to kind of generate an approximate lot line, on the east side of these lots, but on the west side of Oak Street. So I'm going to guess around 60 feet.
Tracy, what do we do to adjust then? I think I maybe misunderstood this. This is Green.
Yeah, what was the question?
Well, are you making sure we have a 60-foot easement and not giving any of it away? Because the lot lines, if they're incorrectly placed, can't take away land from the city. That's not possible. And so if anybody loses land, it should be the lot owners, not the city.
In this scenario, the lot owners are officially dedicating right-of-way that was never dedicated on a plat in the past.
Well, where was Oak Street created?
I do not know. I don't know, because if you go up and down Oak Street, none of these tracks, north and south of this, dedicated right-of-way in the past to the city.
Yeah, this is Phil. This is very similar to how the county has their easements as opposed to right-of-ways. The road exists, and even though the plats do not have dedicated right-of-way, like Tracy said, the road is there. And so what we tried to achieve here was looking at the existing lot line, or lack for lot lines, but the existing homes north of this site, and then looking at pavement widths and existing, their private infrastructure, fences, homes and yards, et cetera. And what we figured out was, the maximum we can get is about a 60-foot right-of-way here. And so that's what the surveyors worked into this document, was going from center of pavement to a portion 30 feet west of that platted line. And so we're going to have to, clean this up. This is a pre-existing condition that, we weren't aware of until this subdivision came across our desks.
So then they will dedicate out to the center line, and then we will own this in fee simple once the dedication is recorded?
Yes.
Okay. And then the other side, will we be doing the same thing, or how are we going to do that?
Until those landowners come through wanting to change their lot configurations. There's really, we're not actively trying to pursue getting dedicated right of way. So,
Unless we're directed to.
yeah.
Okay, well, I think part of it's confusing because the term right of way and easement ain't all that different legally. But we'll just leave it there. I'm sorry. But okay, so we're gonna own from 30 in the middle to the edge in fee simple because of this dedication. Okay, good.
Okay, because I was just thinking this is one of those roads that, I see would benefit eventually from having like a shoulder to bike in and sidewalks to connect to Verdevaux. But, maybe that's a decade from now.
I agree with that assessment.
Well, I'm more interested right now in making sure we got a city street and it's not a county road. And that's what I'm having a little bit of a concern.
Maybe we table this motion.
Well, I think we can do the motion and we'll move forward, but I think that staff and the county got to figure out what kind of road we got here.
For future issues like this, do we adopt a roadmap? Like on a regular basis?
That's what we're working on, and that's been my recommendation for quite some time. An official roadmap would put people on notice that we own a street, and once 20 years goes by, any defects would be cured, and it would be ours in fee simple.
Okay, add it to the long list of things to do.
It's in process. Staff is working on it, and we're gonna get it done. I don't have a date, but that's where we're headed.
Great, thank you.
Just a quick question there, Mike, that you brought up on the road. Several years ago, that subdivision right across the road there, that I think it's I can't read it for the print here.
Sunshine Minor.
Thank you. But across the road, what was done on that one?
I don't know. And like you say, it may be perfectly okie doke and there's no problems. But right now, based on the conversation, I don't know whether that's a county road or a city street. And we will find out and report back to council. I'll get you a memo as soon as I learn.
Well, the existing roadway is within the city limits, so.
Well, but it doesn't make it a city street. That's what I'm trying to get to. I don't know what it is. If it's a dedicated, then it's not really worth continuing here. We just need to find it out and fix it.
Right. Yeah, we'll follow up and report out.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Okay, hearing none, can I have a motion on this item?
I'll make a motion to approve the minor subdivision of Lot 2 Garner Subdivision as submitted by owner Becky Lynn through Council Resolution number 22, Series 2020, with conditions outlined above 1 and 2, and authorize the mayor to sign the plat.
Sorry, before this goes through, I guess I just got really confused about whether or not the street thing, but we can push this through and that doesn't have any difference whether it's a city street or a county street?
We're actually partially fixing it with the dedication by the landowners giving up their land to the city.
Okay.
So we're working on a fix.
Oh, do we need to open this for public comment before I made a motion? Sorry.
No.
Oh, we don't.
It's
Okay.
not a public hearing.
Okay.
I'll second.
Huckins,
Aye.
Rainey,
Aye.
Lucero,
Aye.
Yazzie,
Aye.
Dobry,
Aye.
Medina,
Aye.
Levy.
Aye. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is Services Agreement Modification with Region 9 Economic Development District of Southwest Colorado. City Attorney Mike Green.
At the last meeting, it was pointed out that the county and Region 9 had entered into agreement to, for lack of a better term, distribute surplus COVID monies that they couldn't, distribute or use. So I took that agreement. I'm not sure it's what the city manager and staff had in mind, because it does have city involvement. And I don't know that this is the level the city manager is willing to accept, because it sounded like we wanted to just sort of hand a check back to Region 9 and say, handle it. But this is what the county and the other entities, upon information and belief, did with that money. So with that caveat, we're still involved. We're still approving the applications, or application form and things. We do appoint a selection committee of at least one city of Cortez representative, and the city actually distributes the funds. Region 9 does not do this. So this is still city involved. This is still city on the line if the money's not used properly. And so that's where we are.
Was there any further conversation with the county administrator, like about how their process went, or was this just?
This is what he gave me when I chatted with him after the meeting. He explained that this is how they did it, and it's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, it's pretty basic, and it says the city will and the Region 9 will. There's a lot of work on Region 9, but it's not handing off any of the responsibility. And it does include nonprofits and not-for-profits. And so I have to tell you that the state is starting to enforce the COVID money restrictions. They've actually, today it was kind of a little bit humorous, but not. They had told 1 or 2 or 3 or more counties that if your election judges don't wear masks, you may lose your COVID money, or you may lose portions of it, or you may have other things happen to you because of that violation. So if this is what the county and them did, they're still on the hook. So would we be. So I can't, I don't have a better suggestion, because as you saw with the chamber, ain't nobody going to indemnify us. Ain't nobody going to agree to pay us back. They're not bankrupt organizations, but they're not organizations with the money or the ability to do it. The businesses or the nonprofit entities. So this is, this will work, but the city's still got some responsibility and is still going to have to expend some effort and time.
Okay, so what's the commitment from the committee? Like whoever gets appointed to the committee?
The committee would review all the applications for and make the decision. It looks like when you read through this, the selection committee reviews everything that Region 9 hands to them. And then they make a decision to give the money or not give the money based on who applies.
Mike, Laura is still on the line from Region 9, and I think she would like to address this issue.
Go ahead, Laura.
I'm just willing to answer questions. The way we have it working, and we're also doing Mancus in the town of Dolores, is we right now we have a representative on the committee that does do the selection, and we make recommendations. So Region 9 does the pre-work. We provide a summary of this is how many receipts we received. This is what the financials show. They may have asked for 5,000, but we can show that they are eligible for 3,000. And then we make that recommendation. Once it's approved, we send an invoice to the town or county listing all of the businesses with the amounts. And they actually have been sending those checks to Region 9, and we distribute it to the businesses because we also have to collect W-9s because it's taxable income. And that's, you know, kind of the administrative stuff we were trying to save the community from. We've been making sure we have all the documentation, and the communities, some let us keep it and just hold it, you know, as whatever they say, or the communities actually want the record so that they have it when they request reimbursement.
I'd be happy with just a copy of it, so if somebody has to question down the road.
And yeah, however it works, most of the communities have one representative. Usually it's been a community member and somebody from the government staff. And then we have a couple folks from Region 9 that are doing, you know, all of the kind of pre-work. And then we send all the applications and then, like I said, a summary sheet. So somebody doesn't have to go through all the financials and, you know, look at everything.
And there was a Region member on the board?
Excuse me?
There was a Region 9 member on the board?
Usually that's been me, yes.
Okay.
We've had a couple staff folks.
So we could have a 3-member board, somebody from the city, somebody from Region 9, and somebody from city staff. And this could go rather quickly. That would be a recommendation. Many more than 3, and it's going to be problematic.
Laura, has the state given you any guidance on that kind of going through a process like this is sort of providing that legal protection that Mike is asking about?
No.
That we're sort of doing our due diligence, and that this is the due diligence program to that?
It's really on the business what they provide. So if they don't have receipts, I mean, they can write whatever they want in the application, but if they don't attach that documentation, it's got to be attached documentation. We can't count it. And honestly, with the smaller communities, we'll call them and say, hey, we believe you spent all of this restaurant, on all of your COVID expenses, but we need the actual receipts in order to provide you funding.
And quite, I think the question is slightly different. If something's wrong, we're still responsible the way this agreement reads. The city, if the money's misused or misgiven, we're responsible and we might have to pay it back. We might not. We don't know yet. The reason I talked about the AG's office coming down and enforcing things with county clerks was because that's something new that nobody expected. And all the new health department orders have enforcement language at the very end that says if the counties won't start enforcing the COVID regulations, they could lose their COVID money. I don't know what that means. I don't know how they're going to do it if you already spent it all, but we've got some responsibility here. We're not giving up anything with this agreement.
I'd like to hear city manager's thoughts on this.
I don't see the city manager.
Oh.
He's with Ben.
Oh, there's Ben. Okay.
You guys are muted.
I'm sorry. Was there a question?
I would just like to hear your thoughts, John, on this whole situation.
I know it doesn't get rid of all the work, but it gets rid of the majority of it. And I don't know that the finance department has time to look over all these. I'm assuming we're going to get quite a few applicants. I don't think they have the time to read through the financials to make sure that, they are eligible, first of all, and secondly, that they meet the criteria and everything else. I just think that Region 9 has the experience now, and they're not going to be starting from scratch. We're using other people's templates to even do this. So no, it wasn't ideal. I'd like to just get rid of the whole thing and say, here's the money, just go handle it. But this will do a world of good and get it out a lot quicker than we would be able to.
And then,
Go
Oh,
ahead.
I'm sorry. The only other comment was a lot of the governments felt that having Region 9 sort of accept the applications took away some of the political piece of businesses feeling like they were giving their financials directly to a government entity. So they really, only the selection committee sees it. And to be honest, you know, some of them are more thorough members than others. And so they are relying on us going through that and making those recommendations. But I think businesses are more comfortable with that.
From a
I
finance
got no
staff
object.
perspective. Sorry, sir, go ahead.
I have no objection to doing this. I just want council to know we're not doing exactly what you told us to do, which was, or I took to give it away and give away the responsibility and all the work and everything. You're still involved and you still have to do certain things.
So from the finance perspective, as I heard Laura explain the process at a high level, the work, most of that hard work, Region 9 is doing it from the sounds of it. And I have to applaud them for that effort, because that is a lot of work, right? And then it sounds like really then it's up to the committee to do their due diligence on what's provided and review the recommendations. And that's the committee. And so that really takes a lot of work off of staff, so to speak, right? And that's really helpful. I will also, I have no idea, but I'd be curious if Laura, if you could answer this. What type of requests or applications are you getting from a dollar amount perspective?
The county is allowing applications up to $10,000.
Okay.
And we actually just approved round 1 last week. They're giving out 151,000-ish this first round. I would say there's probably 10 that were of $500 because that had a lower threshold. The county wanted, you know, they didn't want all the financials if you're going to ask for $500.
Yeah.
And then we probably had 7 that were at 10,000 and the rest in between.
And part of the reason why I appreciate that clarification, and part of the reason why I asked that is when you look at, by the time this agreement is enacted and approved and the process starts, there's not a lot of time left in the year. And we still have, I don't know the dollars off the top of my head, what's available for CARES. I would say it's significant still, okay? So based off of the initial round that you're seeing at the county level, and I'm assuming you would want the focus and scope to be within the city of Cortez, that it's going to be, you're going to have smaller and maybe potentially fewer requests. I don't know. I think it'll be hard enough to get all the monies out. So the committee may have an easy job of just approving everything. I can't speak for them, nor will I, but I want to give you at least that perspective. It could be challenging just to get all the money out.
Okay, because that goes with my question. I was going to ask, you know, how soon can we get a selection committee? I mean, how soon can we start moving this money and getting this all set up? Because, you know, we've got 2 months left, but we know with the holidays coming up, you know, everybody's attention shifts.
If you approve this agreement, you could nominate and select one of the 7 to be one of the committee members, and you could then maybe, I don't know who from city staff, and then you've already got the Region 9 director, so you just need a city council person and a staff person, and we could probably get those appointed tonight and then keep moving forward.
The one other question I had, Laura, do you see any issue with are there businesses like that are in the city of Cortez that have already gotten or are applied for county money? Are there any kind of double dipping, or I don't know what that issue would be. Is that something we need to be concerned about?
What I've seen so far, there hasn't been, but there's also Energize Colorado that's out there. That's an aside, but that's also CARES money that's coming down through the state, and we're administering that. And we already saw 3 applicants that were duplicative, you know, from these other sources. all we're doing is we are able to look at the financials and say, okay, if you lost, and I'm using an example, $100,000 and we're only giving you 10, we're okay if you're double dipping two $10,000 grants. So we're double checking that the total is not an extra benefit. The county is fine with any business applying from a municipality, but since they went kind of out first, we would be really careful of, okay, if these 5 Cortez businesses have gotten money through the county, we would be able to kind of look at that and make sure that if the city wanted to give them money as well, that it wasn't over their COVID impact, so to speak.
Thank you.
I guess from like a legal perspective, Mike, if there were, do you think that there would be any issues with businesses applying for these CARES monies that have been adamantly against the regulations that have been applied by the state? Would there be any sort of like, based on what you've just said about like counties not following protocol, being threatened and whatnot? So would there be a higher level of risk in that respect?
I don't know that there's any risk to us for what the businesses do or how they behave. The language I've seen was advising counties, and it was in health department orders, that they could face problems. The county is sort of like the mothership in all this and passed the money on to us. They were the initial recipients. So I've not seen anything that talked about the towns or the cities or the businesses losing money for not enforcing mask requirements. And actually that's kind of the least of the worries. It's, do they really need the money, and should they get it, is where I'm concerned.
Right. Laura, what's the like level of commitment from the committee? Like, are you meeting weekly? Are you passing on stuff as you get them and review them? How does that look?
Most of the communities are having like a couple rounds. So they'll put it out for 3 weeks and then they'll review all of those applications at one time. Dolores is doing first come, first serve. I would say that's a lot more work because, every 2 days you get one application and, we're trying to get an answer, do we fund them? Do we not? So I feel like the rounds work better where we can have one meeting, 1 hour, go through them, kind of concentrate on what the recommendations are, whether there's any concerns, all of those things.
That's an easier and better way, judging by past grant processes that we've had where people come in and you funded the nonprofits or not-for-profits. I'd have to agree.
So what we would have like rounds of 2 weeks or something like that?
Whatever the city wants. Based on the end date of December 31st, I would say you want nothing past the 15th because we need to get those last checks out. And, they need to spend them. So even, we could have a couple rounds, and end it December 10th or something.
All right. My thoughts.
You said something there. I'm sorry. The checks, they have to clear before the end of the year?
No, they have to be cut and out of your bank account. Yes.
I appreciate it because
during Christmas.
Thank you. I'm sorry, Councilwoman Blasi.
No worries. My thoughts. I don't think we're going to be able to spend all this money down by the end of the year. That's my thought on it. But I don't think we should not try because of that. I think we should definitely keep like full steam ahead and push this out through every avenue that we can think of. Like make sure people know that it's available to them, that they can actually utilize this. And I guess one other question I have is like how, like the application itself, is it super cumbersome? Is it pretty quick? Is it just like a one pager or?
Right now it's, and I feel like since the applications are from the other communities right now, you could take the best of all of them, so it would be a really quick turnaround. I'd say they're 2 pages, and then you would need to attach receipts and or financials, depending on what you're trying to demonstrate. We also ask for Colorado Secretary of State certificate of good standing. I want to make sure you're paying your taxes if we're going to give you tax money. So there's a couple other things like that.
Would it be possible, and council, if we could get the examples from Region 9, and you appoint the committee tonight and authorize the committee to develop the application and the processes, that might move things along quickly because we wouldn't have to wait 2 weeks to come back to you. The city manager could also be authorized to sign off on whatever the committee gets as part of his job, but yet not make him sit there and do everything. And so then we'd be able to keep moving ahead like Councilwoman Yazzie wants to do. And I think that's a suggestion.
I don't know that we would want to lose the 2 weeks. Would it be possible if we approve this and appoint a committee tonight to delegate out the application and those details to the committee with the approval of the city manager?
That was my recommendation, just okay. I didn't say it as artfully as you did.
And I will make, unless anybody has any other questions, I'd make a motion to approve.
I got a quick question. No, it's not a question, it's probably a comment. I guess the money to distribute to like the towns and cities and everything, I just kind of feel bad that we're not responsible enough to distribute it and we got to give it to somebody else. So that's my opinion.
I would say Region 9 seems to be pretty trustworthy and a great partnership, and I appreciate them willing to take the time to do this because I don't think we have the staff on hand to right now. So thank you, Laura.
I think it's important that we get this money to our businesses, and I appreciate Region 9 for doing the bulk of the work, and I think it's imperative that we maybe select a committee tonight so we can move forward this item.
All right, who's got the time?
I'll go ahead and make the motion that we approve the service agreement modification by and between the Region 9 Economic Development District of Southwest Colorado, Inc. and the City of Cortez to distribute the remaining CARES Act funding to local for-profit and nonprofit businesses.
And Robert, are you going to recommend a committee member or are you going to do that on another motion?
Why don't we do that on another motion and be cleaner?
Okay, so I need a second for this one.
Second.
Huckins?
Aye.
Dobry?
Aye.
All right, Dobry. Lucero?
Nay.
Rainey?
You're muted,
Mute
Rainey.
yourself.
Aye.
Medina?
Aye.
Yazzie?
Aye.
Levy?
Aye. Okay, the next issue is to select a committee.
Okay, who on council has time?
And I will say it is time to review the applications, but the actual meeting, hasn't been more than an hour and a half, honestly. So, we have been doing it by Zoom, just so you know. So the applications have been sent as a PDF, over email, totally, the council's call, but just, it hasn't been too time consuming because everything's kind of sent out at once and it's just your personal time to go through them.
I'd be happy to do that if no one else wants to step up, since I don't have any committee assignments or anything yet. So this can be my first committee assignment.
Welcome to the team. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert.
And I know Robert.
Mr. Mayor, wait, do we have to make a motion for this to sign them?
I think I would make a motion to, that the new council member is going to be on the committee. And then at the same time, well, we could do separate motions. It's up to you.
Let's just do separate.
Okay, let's do one appointing a volunteer first. Let's not lose him.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to appoint Robert Dobry, Council Member Dobry, for the committee for determining and distributing the Region 9 or the CARES monies funds through Region 9. That got really convoluted. I apologize.
The city's CARES funds.
City's care funds, yeah.
Medina,
Aye.
Yazzie,
Aye.
Rainey,
Aye.
Huckins,
Aye.
Lucero,
Aye.
Dobry,
Aye.
Levy.
Aye.
And we could have a motion to appoint the Region 9 director as the committee member. Because this is your committee, so we need to appoint her as well. Laura.
Can I
And
have
are
a
you,
motion?
are you approving a staff member too, or just?
Well, let's get through this one and then we'll go to staff member.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve Laura Lewis Marchino to the City of Cortez CARES Funding Committee.
Second.
Yazzie,
Aye.
Dobry,
Aye.
Huckins,
Aye.
Lucero,
Aye.
Medina,
Aye.
Rainey,
Aye.
Levy.
Aye.
And then I was thinking a motion to authorize the city manager to appoint a staff member to the committee. It'll make John a very popular man.
Do we have a staff member in mind?
No, but he's the one who would. And so that's probably the quickest and easiest way to accomplish the task. It's his choice.
Okay, I'll make that motion as well. A motion to appoint the city manager or his delegate to the City of Cortez CARES Distribution Fund Committee.
Second.
Lucero,
Aye.
Huckins,
Aye.
Medina,
Aye.
Dobry,
Aye.
Rainey,
Aye.
Yazzie,
Aye.
Levy.
Aye.
And then the last motion would be to authorize this committee to distribute the excess CARES money and take the necessary steps to do so.
Man, you're full of emotions, Mike.
Well, this would have been
Jeez. You
this
get
would have
paid by
been one
motions?
horrific motion, so I'm sorry.
Clarification, Mike, does that include,
For you to approve.
oh, you said earlier for the city manager to sign off on whatever the committee approves.
We should, you're right, I spaced that, I'm sorry. So it would be for the committee to, with the city manager's approval, perform the city's obligations under the agreement. Oversight and approval.
You're getting confused, Mike.
I'm confused, sir, yes. It's past my bedtime.
All right, who's going to tackle that motion? Because I'm going to butcher it.
I'll try. Okay, so I'll make a motion to approve the CARES,
To authorize the committee
to authorize the committee
To act on the city's behalf.
to act on the city's behalf to distribute CARES funds with the approval of the city manager.
The oversight and approval.
With the oversight and approval of the city manager.
Is that okay, John?
Second.
Okay.
I got a quick question. Is if he's before we vote, sorry. If he's going to be approving it, how come he's not in the committee?
He can be. He or his designee.
Are we good to go?
So Medina motion, Huckins second. Okay.
Yes.
Rainey,
Aye.
Medina,
Aye.
Huckins,
Aye.
Yazzie,
Hi.
Dobry,
Aye.
Lucero,
Aye.
Levy.
Aye. Okay, we got through that. Okay, there are no draft resolution or ordinances. There are no other items of business. Citizen participation. Comments may be limited to 4 minutes per person. Please comment on items not listed as public hearing. Council may or may not respond to comments. Are there any citizens that wish to make comments?
I see one hand up.
Terry Hines, do you have a comment?
No. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay, so I was talking with Rachel probably about a month or two ago, and she was wondering about the delta between the businesses and the city and some of the issues there. She asked me if I could set up a business leaders forum. So I have set that up. We're going to hold it at the county commissioners meeting room, excuse me, on next Thursday at 6:30. I'd like all of you guys to attend, and I've got probably 35 or 40 businesses that have signed up and would love to sit down and have some one-on-one with the city council. So can I count on you to be there?
If city council is going to be in attendance, I will need to post that meeting. So I will need to know if there's more than 2 going.
I think that's in not in congruence with the governor's orders.
Explain, please.
Yes, that a gathering of more than 10 people is not a good thing.
Well, the reason we did that is we had a forum that could seat that many people and still respect the 6-foot distance limitations.
I think there's a capacity limitation even with distancing, and masks are required and everything else. And so if city council, wishes to respect the governor, actually the health department's order that came out the 27th today. That's what they're saying, sir.
Terry, can you add a Zoom component so that
We certainly can. I talked to Candelaria today, and we can do a Zoom meeting as well. So that's not a problem. But I have 33 or 35 very anxious people that would love to some one-on-one time with the city council and the city council alone as well.
And how long would this be?
I'm going to give it about 2 hours, and we want to kind of move through it pretty quickly.
So that would be a special meeting?
If you all...
well, I think it's a business forum. I don't know if it's a special meeting for you guys, but
it would be a special meeting for the city council, and we'd have to notice it, and we'd have to take minutes and all this good stuff.
And then that's if 3 or more of us attend.
Yes.
Yes.
And then all of you there. So those of you who want to go, you'll be attending by Zoom, and it'll be just like tonight. It'll be another city council meeting.
Correct.
Maybe you should just, if it's possible, just notice it in the event that 3 people do show up. Does that work?
We can, I think we have to notice it, and then those of you who decide to show up, show up.
Okay,
I would
would like to.
recommend as many people to attend as possible. You are the city's leadership, and you are the guys they want to talk to.
So I would like to attend in some capacity, but I would like to emphasize to the people there that that this is solely an opportunity for city council members to come and hear about how to build a better relationship with businesses, and that council members who do attend are there to collect the information and take it back to the broader council group, that to then do what we see fit with that information. We're not going to be making a decision that night. And I would also like to emphasize that personally, I want it to be respectful and not be a meeting where we just hear about how terrible the city is. I would like to see hear productive things from that meeting.
No, I've heard a little bit of both, some criticisms and some wins that the city has done. And I think really what we don't want is a decision. We want you to understand how to better service the business community.
And if I could throw something in here, Linda, you should probably schedule this as a workshop then, where no decisions can be made. So it's not a true meeting. It's a workshop where
I'm not sure how to tape this meeting when it's at the county commissioner room.
It's going to be Zoom, so we'll be able to have that record.
Is our
Oh,
RT
they were
doing
actually
that?
going to record it as well and put it on YouTube.
So the city of Cortez IT is doing that?
No,
Okay, how will I get the sound for that?
I assume you'll be on the Zoom meeting, and don't you have recording capabilities with the Zoom meeting?
We'll have to talk to IT and figure it
I
out, and then with the county, and we'll get it done.
Yeah, I talked with them today. They wanted to talk to me about some other things, and they thought it was a good idea. They want to understand the business community as better than they understand it today. So I think it's a good opportunity for us to kind of bridge that gap, and there certainly is a gap there.
So my understanding, this is going to be a county or a city county work session. Is that my understanding?
Are the commissioners going to be there, sir, or is this just the city council?
I only talked to Candelaria today, so I know Jim wants to be there. He was going to reach out to the other 2 commissioners, and I assume, knowing both of those guys, they will be there.
I think we only need to notice it, Linda, as a city council workshop, and let the county worry about noticing it if they're going to attend. That would be my recommendation.
And Councilwoman Medina, would you mind just backtracking to the premise, the initial concept of this, and maybe can we fine tune it a little bit more so we know what we're getting into?
I think this conversation stemmed from pretty much the land use code issues that were earlier this year. So talking to Terry, I wanted to know kind of, what are the hurdles that stop some small businesses from being created in the city, or businesses being relocated, or businesses thriving that are already here. So how, I guess I was asking, how, from a city's standpoint, how can we be more business friendly?
I think a lot of people remember that night, and it was not a very good night. And as a business leader and working with other cities and counties and states and federal government and all that, we always made sure that we had good, clear communications. And from that meeting on the land use code, it was clear there was a disconnect, and a pretty big one. So, how do you avoid that in the future? I think that summed it up really well, because, it's a lot, those meetings go a lot better if there's a lot of people that are informed and in touch with what's going on. So, as we were talking about it, how do you fix that? And it's through communications. That way, you know what their needs are. We know what, your needs are. We can meet in the middle somewhere where maybe a lot of the needs didn't match up with what the public needed. And I think as I've talked to and arranged this, there's some pretty big disconnects out there, and it would be nice that you guys understand what they are, so you can start either addressing them, and we all realize there's some things that you can do, there's some things you can't do, and there's probably some things that you won't do. And I think we all understand that. But as long as we know what the temperature is between both parties, we can always be successful that way.
Great, thank you for the clarification. I guess Mr. Green stepped out, but I would just like to know from a legal perspective. Oh, hey there. Just this would be a pure note-taking experience as far as the council members. We aren't responding, we're just taking notes from concerned citizens.
Yeah, I would really suggest that's the way we do it. That way, if you listen, you'll learn a lot, right?
Moving along on that tone, what I think the councilwoman wanted to know, sort of some rules for engagement. I don't know if council wants to have a dialogue, and perhaps that's something you should talk, or if you're just going to take information. I think there's a possibility that this goes south real quick if one or two people get up and start attacking you. Then you're not going to be real receptive to it. So there does need to be some ground rules that, I don't know who the facilitator is going to be for this. I don't know the controls on this. If this is a city council meeting, the mayor should have some control. If y'all show up, if only a couple of you show up, well, that's a different story. I'm a little, that's sort of one of the issues here. Somebody just gets up and attacks. When does it stop? I suppose you could all just disconnect and leave. And that would be my advice if this became too onerous and disrespectful. You all have the option of just leaving. I don't know who's going to be controlling the mute button, for example. So there's some details probably need to be worked out. And things like that. But I don't think you have to sit there and be disrespected or, not getting productive materials. 2 hours is a pretty long time if people are angry with you. I hope that answers your question.
Totally, thank you.
Well, thank you very much, and I look forward to it. And if you guys want more clarifications, or you want to call me for ground rules or whatnot, I have asked everybody to be very respectful, because some of these meetings have not been so. With some of the things that have been going on in the city. I don't want it to be like that. I want it to be productive, because if it's not productive, we're spinning our wheels and wasting our time.
Thank you for that. Will you get the clerk a Zoom Connect for this, Linda Smith, and then she can get it out to City Council? Because somehow we're going to have the ability to log on.
Okay. Yeah, Jim McLean over there said he could set all that up. So I'll get with him. And again, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to give me a call. I'm Farmer's Telephone in town, and we're listed in the book.
Okay, thank you, Terry Hines.
Okay, thanks a lot, guys and gals.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Are there any other citizen comments? Okay. Houston Frizzell, you have a comment, sir?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
All right, Mr. Mayor, the rest of the council, thank you guys for listening to me. Thank you, first of all, for your consideration a few weeks ago, as I was one of the applicants for the position. Councilman Dobry, congratulations on your appointment. My only comment was the consideration for the city council position was that a person only has to be a resident of the city for a year. I really think that they need to be a little more local than that. You know, even if it's not in the city, maybe they've got to be a resident of the county for 5 years or 3 years. You can kind of see where I'm going with this. You know, just to try to get a little more of a local perspective on the council. Nothing against the folks that just moved here. I'm excited that they just moved here and they want to be a part of the council. But I really think to move the city forward, we need to have a little more of that local perspective, people that have been here for a little bit longer, that kind of have an idea as to what the community is, what the county is.
Okay. Thank you for that input, Houston. Appreciate that. Are there any other citizens wishing to participate? Seeing no new ones. Let's see, there's no city attorney's report, no city manager report. The city council committees, do you have any reports, County? City council?
Yeah,
None for me.
Mr. Mayor, this is Arlena. I attended the Parks and Rec advisory, and we didn't really get too much done because we didn't have enough people. So if you know anybody that wants to join the Parks and Rec board, definitely send them towards Dean. And then the last meeting for the golf board was canceled because of all of the restrictions going on. So that's my report for that. And then I'll just take a moment, because I like to do little PSAs at this time, to say that there is a flu clinic on the 7th, which is a Saturday, next Saturday, a free flu clinic through the public health department. It's drive-through from 11 to 3, and it's on the backside of the public health department. You can find the information on the Montezuma County Public Health Department Facebook page. So might as well throw that out there. Make sure you get your flu shot. Stay healthy throughout the winter.
Thanks, Arlena. I just got my flu shot yesterday and my arm hurts.
I have a report also.
Go ahead, David.
For the Cortez Cultural Center. They're hoping to open up the gift shop with limited hours and safety precautions next week through Christmas on Wednesday, Thursday, Fridays, and Saturdays from 1 to 6. We want to give locals a chance to buy local and help support the creative economy. They're also planning, getting ready for the birding festival, and we'll be participating in that. And if you need any more information on that, check with Becky. So the Arts Committee is not doing a great deal right now, since the funding is at an all-time low. Brenda is doing something personal to help subsidize the committee, but anyway, they're hoping to get things rolling after the first year. So that's it.
Okay, any other council members on the committee? Okay, seeing none, I'll give a mayor's report on the workshop. Tonight we had a presentation on community policing program by Chief of Police Vern Knuckles and Haley Leonard Saunders, Director of Public Relations and Development with Access Health. We had a presentation on Rural Jumpstart Program by Laura Lewis Marchino, Executive Director of Region 9. We had an update on Southwest Health Alliance Program by Monique DeGiorgio, Director. And we had several presentations on water issues, drought restrictions, source water protection, risk resilience assessment, and preliminary engineering reports. Those were given by Phil Johnson, Richard Landreth, and Randy Hunt from the city, and Chad Hill also. And that pretty much covers the city workshop. Are there any other comments or from the city council or anyone? I'd like to remind you that a week from today was the election. I want to make sure that all of you have had a chance to vote. And if you haven't voted yet, drop your ballots off at the drop boxes. Do not mail them. It's too late to be mailed. And whatever the outcome of the election, we urge all of us to accept what the will of the people is. And we're part of a democracy, and it's the voice of the people that we're listening to at this point. So if there's no more comments or input from the council, I call this meeting adjourned. Thank you all. Good night.
Thank you. Stay
Good
safe.
night.
Good night.